My name is Ayola and I'm a lawyer. I used to be a lawyer in a law firm and I'm now working as an in-house legal counsel. In this video, I will break down everything you need to know about becoming a lawyer, from the type of work you'll be doing to lifestyle, income expectations, and career options that are available to someone with a law degree. What do lawyers actually do? Most lawyers don't spend their days dramatically arguing in court. This is something that we see in movies and TV shows. Here's a breakdown of what lawyers actually do. The first thing is writing and researching. Irrespective of what type of law you practice, writing and researching is a big part of the job. You'll be writing legal memos, advice to your clients, drafting contracts, and researching case law and legislation and then summarizing it. The second thing is advising clients. Whether you're a lawyer working in a law firm and you have multiple clients, or maybe you're an in-house legal counsel like me and you only have one client, which is the company that you're working for, advising clients is something that you'll do as a lawyer on a daily basis. For example, I advise the teams that I support in a company that I work for, and generally it's not my job to say no to something. It is my job to enable the teams that I support to do what they're wanting to do while minimizing risk as much as possible. It is essentially my job to find alternatives, multiple options, and the smartest path from a legal perspective. The next thing I wanted to mention is negotiating. If you're an M&A lawyer, for example, you will definitely be negotiating a lot of deals with the lawyers from the other side of the transaction. But even as an in-house legal counsel, I negotiate on a daily basis. I negotiate a lot of contracts for our clients, but also a lot of supplier agreements. So negotiating is a big part of the job. And the final thing I wanted to mention is litigation. This is actually something I don't have any experience in. It's not an area that I've ever worked in. But if you are a litigation lawyer, you can be expected to go to court. However, it is worth mentioning that in Australia and other common law jurisdictions, there's actually a split. We have solicitors and barristers are actually the ones that are, specialists for going to court. They're the ones that are briefed on cases, and that's pretty much what they do. Solicitors who practice in this area can also be expected to go to court for, I'd say, more straightforward matters. But a big part of your job is still quite focused on preparing documents, drafting submissions, so it's still quite document heavy even if you are a litigation or disputes lawyer. So what career options are available to someone with a law degree? I think a law degree is a degree that can provide you with a diverse range of options when it comes to your career. The most traditional path you can take is joining a law firm. So normally, especially for large and medium-sized law firms, you are expected to get a clerkship in your penultimate year, and then hopefully you will get a graduate certificate. You will then be promoted to a solicitor or a lawyer, then to associate, senior associate, and eventually to partner. So you can absolutely just climb a corporate ladder within a law firm. The good news is that you don't actually have to stay in a law firm environment for the rest of your career. For example, you can choose to go in-house after a few years, and there are a lot of lawyers who are making that switch. And there are actually a lot of lawyers who are choosing to go from working in a law firm to then working as an in-house legal counsel much early in their careers, and I'm definitely one of them. If you're working as an in-house legal counsel, essentially your job is working in the legal department of a company. So it's no different to, working in the marketing team or maybe the accounting team in a large corporation. And a lot of big corporations have their own in-house legal teams because it's more cost effective and efficient to have an in-house legal team than, to outsource all the legal work that you have to law firms. You can also work for the government. You can become a prosecutor if you like criminal law, for example, but also a lot of departments have legal teams, so you can work as sort of like an in-house lawyer for a government department, so your work will be quite similar to working as an in-house legal counsel in the private sector. And the last thing I wanted to mention is the fact that you can choose a non-traditional path. You can become a judge, you can become a politician, you can start your career working in a law firm, then you can go into an in-house role, and after that you can stop being a lawyer and maybe change into more operations role, so you can become someone like a COO. And the point is that there is no right path to take. It is definitely your career, so you can do anything you want. It's pretty much your choice. So what does lawyer lifestyle look like? When it comes to work hours, if you're a lawyer working in a law firm, you can be expected to work long hours on a consistent basis, maybe 10, 12 hours. And that's not something that is, out of ordinary. That's pretty much the norm, I'd say, for most lawyers that I speak with, and that was what I experienced when I was working in private practice. If you're a government lawyer or maybe you're working as an in-house legal counsel, I think achieving that work-life balance is definitely possible, and most of the time your work week is standard work week, so you are expected to work more predictable hours if you're an in-house legal counsel. And the second thing that I wanted to mention is your actual work environment. And that's not something that, I kind of expected or really kind of comprehended when I was younger, when I was studying. Most of your day is honestly not that exciting. You're sitting at your desk, maybe you have a standing desk, and you're in front of your laptop that is normally, plugged into multiple screens, maybe one or two additional screens. And most of your work is done on your laptop. You're checking your emails constantly, you're responding to emails, you're receiving emails, you're looking at different documents, you're saving those documents in, the correct folders. So yeah, for most of the day, if you look at a lawyer from like the outside, you are pretty much glued to your laptop, and you're either sitting or standing in front of your screen for the whole day. You're not really moving that much. And you can also be expected to, attend client meetings. Some of them are done in person, or maybe you have to take calls on your phone. But a lot of meetings, even, with people who work for the same company as you, are done on virtually. So they're done on Teams or Zoom. And again, you're in front of the same laptop, looking at the screen, taking notes. So that's something that is, I think, important to keep in mind, especially if you're maybe someone who is finishing high school and thinking about becoming a lawyer. I just want you to have realistic expectations of this profession, and what you see in movies or in TV shows is not accurate. For the most part, you are not moving much, and you're sitting in front of your laptop for many, many hours, sometimes, with very few breaks. What about money? So that's probably one of the most interesting parts of this video, and something that is, I think, maybe the most important thing when it comes to choosing the right career, because it's not just about your paycheck, it's everything that comes with it. It determines where you live, what you'll eat, where you go on holidays, and how often. When it comes to money, I wanted to give you a few ranges for different levels and different categories of the profession. One thing I wanted to mention is that lawyers in Australia are notoriously underpaid. I can definitely double my salary if I go to a different jurisdiction, like maybe Hong Kong, London, or the US. So with that in mind, I wanted to give you a few ranges. So for a graduate lawyer, if you got your first graduate contract with one of the big law firms, your salary will be 6 figures, so it'll probably be around 100 to 120,000, and that includes superannuation. If you have maybe 5 years of experience, your salary goes up to anywhere between 180 to, I'd say, 200. And for medium-sized law firms, your starting salary is around 80 to 90,000, and after 5 years of experience, it can go up to somewhere between 160 and 180. If you're working as an in-house legal counsel, your salary is not really standardized, and it really varies depending on the company that you're working for, and it also varies from industry to industry. If you are starting your career as an in-house legal counsel, I think you can be expected to earn around the $80,000 to $90,000 mark per year. And if you're a senior legal counsel, you have maybe 6 years of legal experience, your salary is starting somewhere around 160, but I think it's around the 180 mark on average. But it can go up to anywhere, I'd say maybe even somewhere like 220, 230 for industries such as, IT and financial services, because those generally pay higher than other industries. That was it for this video. I hope you found it helpful, and thank you for watching until the end. If you are curious about the differences between working as a lawyer in a law firm and working as an in-house legal counsel, then you might want to watch this video.